Have you ever wondered why a single portrait, just 30 inches tall, can command more attention than almost any other work of art on Earth? Why millions push through crowds every year just to catch a fleeting glimpse of her smile? The Mona Lisa is not just a painting. It's a puzzle, a theft, a symbol, and a mirror of our own human obsession with mystery. Today, we're peeling back the layers of Leonardo da Vinci's masterpiece to uncover the story behind the world's most famous face, and why, even after 500 years, she still refuses to give up all her secrets. The Mona Lisa by Leonardo da Vinci is often described as the world's most famous painting. Its official title is Portrait of Lisa Gherardini, wife of Francesco del Giocondo, linking it to the Florentine woman believed to be its subject. Painted in the early 16th century, this portrait's celebrity arises from a combination of its intriguing history, artistic mastery, and enduring mysteries. From its Renaissance origins and a sensational theft to the enigmatic smile that has captivated viewers for centuries. Today I am sharing with you a detailed exploration of the Mona Lisa's background, the story of its theft and recovery, interpretations of its symbolism, and how it is displayed and experienced today in the Louvre Museum. Let's begin with her history and background. Leonardo da Vinci began painting the Mona Lisa around 1503 in Florence, likely working on it intermittently for years. According to Renaissance biographer Giorgio Vasari, the portrait was commissioned by Francesco del Giocondo as a depiction of his wife, Lisa Gherardini, hence the painting's Italian name, La Gioconda, meaning the jovial one. In fact, the subject's gentle smile has been said to echo her husband's surname, Giocondo, which means happy in Italian. Leonardo famously never delivered the finished portrait to its patron, and instead kept it with him, continually refining it with delicate layers of oil glazes that give the image its subtle, lifelike quality. The artist's technique resulted in fine craquelures, tiny cracks in the paint, especially on the hands, indicating areas he worked on during later years of his life. In 1516, Leonardo entered the service of King François I of France, bringing the Mona Lisa with him. The French king acquired the painting from Leonardo, either as a gift or a purchase, around 1518, shortly before or just after the artist's death in 1519. Thus, the Mona Lisa entered the collection of the French crown. For centuries it was kept in royal palaces. King Louis XIV, for example, had it hung in his palace at Versailles during the 17th century. After the French Revolution in 1789, the royal art collection became national property, and the Mona Lisa was installed in the Louvre Museum in Paris around 1804. There is even an anecdote that Emperor Napoleon Bonaparte so admired the painting that he temporarily kept it in his private bedroom in the Tuileries Palace before it was returned to the Louvre's galleries. By the 19th century, the Mona Lisa was on public display in the Louvre, one admired masterpiece among many, at least until events in the early 20th century would elevate it to unparalleled fame. That turning point came with a theft. On the morning of August 21st, 1911, the unthinkable happened. The Mona Lisa vanished from the Louvre. The thief, a former museum employee named Vincenzo Peruggia, an Italian glazier who had once helped install the painting's protective glass. His heist was shockingly simple. The day before, Peruggia had hidden in a supply closet at the museum. In the early hours of Monday, when the Louvre was closed, he emerged wearing a worker's white smock. He lifted the 30-inch portrait off the wall, removed its protective case, and carried it under his coat. Security was so lax that his exit was even aided by an unsuspecting plumber who unlocked a door for him, believing Peruggia was simply a fellow worker. And so the world's most famous painting walked out of the Louvre unnoticed. The theft wasn't even discovered until more than 24 hours later, at noon the next day, when an artist visiting the gallery alerted guards that the painting was missing. All that remained were 4 iron pegs on the wall where the Mona Lisa had once hung. The Louvre's director of paintings resigned in disgrace, and French police scrambled to find the missing masterpiece. Newspapers erupted with headlines. "The Mona Lisa is gone." The public was stunned. Thousands rushed into the museum not to see art, but to gawk at the empty space on the wall. In a surreal twist, two of Paris's most famous bohemians were arrested. Poet Guillaume Apollinaire, who once declared he wished to burn down the Louvre, and his friend Pablo Picasso, who had previously purchased stolen Iberian sculptures. Both were interrogated, then cleared of involvement. But the Mona Lisa remained missing for 2 years. Where was she? Who dared to steal her? Finally, in late 1913, the truth emerged. Vincenzo Perugia, under the alias Leonardo, contacted an art dealer in Florence claiming he had the portrait. He believed, mistakenly, that Napoleon had stolen the Mona Lisa from Italy centuries earlier, and he thought it was his patriotic duty to return her to her homeland. In December 1913, Perugia met with dealer Alfredo Gheri and Uffizi gallery director Giovanni Poggi in Florence. From a false bottom trunk in his small apartment, he revealed the world's missing treasure. The experts confirmed its authenticity and notified police. On December 11, 1913, Perugia was arrested and the Mona Lisa was recovered at last. Before returning to France, the painting toured Italy, shown in Florence, Rome and Milan, where crowds celebrated its homecoming. Finally, in January 1914, the Mona Lisa was triumphantly reinstalled in the Louvre. Perugia received only a light sentence, but his theft transformed the Mona Lisa forever. In the wake of the crime of the century, the painting's fame skyrocketed. Newspapers worldwide printed her image, embedding her mysterious smile into the global imagination. When the Louvre rehung the painting, over 120,000 people came in the first 2 days alone, just to see the once missing masterpiece. From that moment on, the Mona Lisa was no longer simply a Renaissance treasure. She was a modern legend. Now that we've explored its history and dramatic theft, let's turn to the heart of the Mona Lisa's mystery, its symbolism and interpretations. Most art historians agree that the painting portrays Lisa del Giocondo, also known as Lisa Gherardini, a Florentine noblewoman. This identification comes from Giorgio Vasari, who wrote in the 16th century that Leonardo painted Lisa at the request of her husband, Francesco del Giocondo. Yet despite the strong evidence, her identity has never been absolutely proven, and so speculation continues. Sigmund Freud famously suggested that the Mona Lisa was based on Leonardo's own mother, Caterina, that her smile carried the echoes of maternal memory. Others have speculated that the portrait might be a disguised self-portrait of Leonardo himself, or perhaps an idealized composite rather than a real woman at all. Modern scientific efforts, such as attempts to exhume Lisa Gherardini's remains and reconstruct her face, have been inconclusive. The mystery endures, and perhaps that mystery is part of her power. The Mona Lisa's smile is often called enigmatic. Why? Because it seems to shift. Look directly at her mouth and it almost disappears. Look into her eyes and it reappears, glowing faintly with warmth. Leonardo achieved this illusion with sfumato, a technique of layering translucent glazes to blur edges and soften transitions between light and shadow. It's why her expression seems alive, flickering with different moods. Psychologists and scholars have long tried to decode it. Freud saw it as the mother's smile. Some perceive it as both inviting and reserved, seduction and distance entwined. Others argue over whether it reveals joy, melancholy, or something in between. What is certain is this: Leonardo broke with the stiff, expressionless portraiture of his time. He dared to give his subject life. And in doing so, he created the most famous smile in the history of art. Another mystery lies in her gaze. Many swear that the Mona Lisa's eyes follow them as they move around the room. In truth, her gaze is slightly off-center, aimed just to the viewer's right. But paradoxically, this subtle misalignment makes her appear more alive, as though she sees you, not just the space in front of her. This phenomenon is so well known it has a name: the Mona Lisa effect. Leonardo's three-quarter pose broke the rigid profile portraits of earlier centuries. Instead of a lifeless bust, he gave us a subject who seems to engage us eye to eye. And it's set the standard for portraiture ever since. Behind Mona Lisa unfolds a dreamlike landscape, Winding rivers, jagged mountains, a distant bridge. Look closely and you'll notice the horizons on either side of her head don't quite align. One side sits slightly higher, creating a subtle dissonance. Her body, her flowing hair, and even the folds of her dress echo the same gentle curves seen in the rivers and valleys behind her. This was no accident. Leonardo believed in the harmony between humanity and nature, and here he painted that philosophy into being. She sits calm, serene, almost otherworldly, while behind her stretches a vast, untamed wilderness. That contrast sharpens the mystery of her smile, as though she holds secrets against the backdrop of eternity. And so, the Mona Lisa endures, a face both known and unknown, a smile both real and illusory, a portrait that refuses to be solved. For the last 2 centuries, the Mona Lisa has lived at the Louvre Museum in Paris, and today she is displayed under some of the strictest security conditions in the art world. Since 2005, the painting has stood in the center of the Louvre's Salle des États, the museum's largest gallery, chosen specifically to accommodate the endless crowds. There she rests on a freestanding wall, shielded behind transparent, bulletproof glass, under constant surveillance. Why so much protection? Because the Mona Lisa is painted not on canvas, but on a fragile panel of poplar wood. Over the centuries, it has warped, and to preserve it, the Louvre maintains exacting control over temperature and humidity within the glass vitrine. The extra measures are necessary because the Mona Lisa has faced more danger than most artworks. In 1956, acid was thrown at it, damaging the lower section. That same year, a rock was hurled at the painting, chipping the figure's left elbow. Later attacks included spray paint in Tokyo in 1974, a thrown ceramic mug in 2009, and in 2022, a protester who tried to smear cake on the glass. Thanks to bulletproof glass, none of these attempts ever reached the portrait itself. She remains untouched. Today, visiting the Mona Lisa has become a near ritual for millions. On a typical day, a dense crowd gathers before her. Visitors crane their necks, stretch their arms, and hold phones high to snap a photo. For many, the experience is fleeting. A few seconds at the front barrier, then they are swept away by the next wave of people. One writer described it as an unpleasant gladiatorial rite of passage, pushing through a sea of heads and raised cameras just to glimpse the pensive diva behind glass. The painting's relatively small size, just 30 by 20 inches, and the reflective glass make it hard to see clearly from a distance. Yet even so, the moment is unforgettable. When her eyes lock with yours, you feel that connection across 5 centuries. In 2019, the Louvre renovated her gallery, repainting the walls a midnight blue to highlight her presence and creating stanchioned queue lines to manage the crowds. The museum also capped daily attendance at 30,000 visitors, down from 45,000 pre-pandemic, in hopes of improving the experience. Even with these efforts, the Mona Lisa's corner of the Louvre is still the busiest place in the museum. Her solitary placement on the wall, opposite Veronese's monumental wedding feast at Cana, gives her an altar-like prominence. Guards stand watch, the glass gleams, and beyond it, the enigmatic smile of Lisa Gherardini radiates an aura unlike any other work of art on Earth. The Mona Lisa has survived theft, exile, vandalism, and centuries of scrutiny. Yet her smile remains unbroken, unchanged, untouchable. Perhaps that is why we are still drawn to her. She reminds us that the greatest mysteries are not always meant to be solved, but to be experienced. So the next time you see her image, whether in a book, online, or in the Louvre itself, ask yourself, what is she really smiling at? And what does that say about us? If this journey into the Mona Lisa's history and mystery intrigued you, don't forget to give this video a like. Subscribe for more explorations of art, history, and hidden stories, and share your thoughts in the comments. What do you think lies behind her smile? Until next time, keep looking closely. The world's greatest secrets may be hiding in plain sight.